Welcome back to JAK Sports. My name is Jacob Kelly, and this is a show where we take you through the biggest stories in sports that you might have missed this week. This week's episode is going to follow a bit of a different format. So usually when I do the show throughout the entire week, I take notes and I prepare and I plan, but I've been so busy this week between work and I've been at a music festival all week that I'm going to do this on the fly. So I've got my Score app here. I'm going to scroll through news from the past week. Anything that catches my eye, I'm going to let you guys know what's up and give you my opinion on it. The Dallas Cowboys might be without Ezekiel Elliot for the beginning of the season. He's potentially facing a short suspension of 1 to 2 games for a domestic abuse report filed by his ex-girlfriend. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that although no decision has been finalized yet, the NFL is trying to find something to pin on Elliot. One thing to note is with these two claims, one was made in February of 2017 and the other in July of 2017, is Ezekiel Elliott was neither charged nor arrested as a result of either claim. So the NFL could potentially find something, but then there's the claims that a source told Adam Schefter that the NFL is trying to pin something on him. So I don't really know what to think or what to believe with this story. I don't know where to go with this story. It's going to be so much he said, she said, and let's just move on to the next story. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather have been making their world press conference tour, and these press conferences have been pretty ridiculous. They've been pretty entertaining as well, which is to be expected. They're trying to sell the fight. They're trying to hype it up as best they can. The Toronto one's probably the funniest of the press conferences where apparently Conor's mic got cut off by Showtime. He got a second mic. They started cussing out Showtime. Showtime responded with an official statement saying they didn't cut his mic off. They've gone back and forth for a while. It's been pretty funny. If you haven't checked out the highlights or watching any clips from it, I recommend it. So after the big hype from the Toronto one, they had their third press conference in Brooklyn, and that went absolutely terribly. It was a disaster. The fans couldn't even hear them. It was technical problem after technical problem. And they have their fourth and final press conference in London today around the time of filming this video on Friday afternoon, and they really need to rally and make a very solid press conference out of that one because tickets are going on sale in the next little while. They go on sale July 24th for the fight on August 26th. Ticket prices are supposed to be around $500 to $10,000 and expected to more than double that on the resale market. Plus with the pay-per-view, it's going to be $89.99 for the regular version, and if you want the HD version, which pretty much everyone's going to want, it's going to be $100. So after this disaster in Brooklyn, they really need to come back with a strong presser this next week. Tim Tebow actually isn't a terrible baseball player. Since being called up to high A 16 games ago, he's batting .327. He's currently on an 11-game hitting streak, and he just cranked a walk-off home run on Thursday night. He's actually not doing too bad. Mets GM did admit a little while ago that he did sign Tebow primarily for his celebrity, but he's definitely turning into be a not terrible ball player, almost decent ball player. Does he have a shot at making the majors? That is yet to be seen. He's got a long way to go. It does take a long time to develop in baseball, so by the time he does get to the majors, if he even gets there, he'll be getting older already as it is. So I don't know if he has a shot at making it all the way. It'll be interesting to see how he does over the next little while, though. Let's talk about Paul George. A report came out that the Indiana Pacers offered Paul George 1-for-1 to the Golden State Warriors for Klay Thompson. The Warriors said no, they were never interested in this deal. Even if they were interested, I don't think that the NBA would have let it go through, but I'm not surprised Golden State said no. There's not a chance that they would have traded Klay Thompson for Paul George. It's not much of an increase in what they already have. Klay Thompson is an elite three-point shooter, a phenomenal perimeter defender. Wouldn't have been worth it to pick up Paul George just for 1 year. But as we know, Paul George ended up with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he arrived in OKC this week, greeted by 500 fans at the airport. And he went on to say that you never know, he could potentially re-sign next season. It depends on how the team does. Last week, I said that he won't be re-signing. There's no way. This trade is the best for the Lakers because Paul George going to OKC pretty much guarantees that he'll be in Los Angeles next year. And I still stick by those statements. Although Paul George did say that if OKC has a good year, he could definitely re-sign. If him and Russ develop a good relationship, he could re-sign. I don't see Paul George re-signing. He did say that next year when it comes to free agency, he wants him and Russ to be on the same page. And I do think that OKC does have a shot at actually being a quality team next year with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Steven Adams still developing and improving. They could be decent next year. However, the Western Conference is so difficult, I don't see them making it to the final. Maybe not even the Western Conference final. It's still going to get by Golden State, San Antonio, Houston. It's just going to be really tough for them. And even if they do have a decent year, I still think he's going to end up in Los Angeles. He said he wants to play in Los Angeles. He wants to go home. And if Los Angeles has a decent year this year behind Lonzo Ball, then I could see Paul George potentially being interested to go already. Plus, with the rumors that LeBron James wants to go to LA because his life is out there, he has a home, his business ventures are all in LA. He wants to go play for the Lakers. If LeBron James jumps to LA, that would only entice Paul George even more. So now he's playing with one of the greatest players of all time. He's playing behind a bright young point guard. If Lonzo Ball is going to be as good as I think he is this year, plus he's at home playing in LA with a great city, I would not be surprised if Paul George leaves OKC next year. Speaking of the Lakers and Lonzo Ball, let's talk about that for a second. Lonzo Ball's summer league debut was underwhelming. He didn't have the greatest game, and people were questioning whether he was a bust already. Yes, after one Summer League game, people were questioning whether Lonzo Ball was a bust. He's bounced back in the last 3 games. He's played great, and he's had 2 triple-doubles in his last 3 games. Now, granted, triple-doubles in Summer League, definitely a lot easier to do than playing in an actual NBA game, and I don't think that's going to translate to Lonzo getting a ton of triple-doubles in the NBA, but if you don't think Lonzo Ball is a star and big in this league, let's just think about this for a second. We've been concerned with what the kid has on his feet. People have been freaking out over about his shoes, and if you can tell me someone else that's had that much coverage down to that much detail in Summer League, I'd be interested to hear, because I don't think we've ever been concerned this much about someone's performance and attire in Summer League. Another player that's been impressing so far this year in Summer League is Jason Tatum, the 3rd overall pick to the Boston Celtics. And now I had him going 3rd overall. That was higher than most people's draft boards, but I thought Jason Tatum was a good player and he would make a nice NBA player. Now I didn't think he's good enough to go 1st or 2nd because Lonzo and Markelle Fultz were locked to go 1st and 2nd overall. And speaking of Markelle Fultz, he rolled his ankle in Summer League action. He's out for the rest of Summer League. Not to panic, 76ers fans, he is supposed to be back for the beginning of the NBA season, and so we're not going to see a lot of him in Summer League, so we're going to have to wait till the preseason starts to get a good look at Markelle Fultz in an NBA jersey. Speaking of Markelle Fultz and the Philadelphia 76ers, his teammate Joel Embiid was recently fined $10,000 by the NBA. He's fined $10,000 for calling out LeVar Ball on Instagram Live, saying, "Fuck LeVar Ball." I think this Joel Embiid and LeVar Ball rivalry is good for the NBA and good for basketball. Joel has since stood by his statement saying people wanting him to say it, so it's good that he finally said it. But as I said, this rivalry is great because Lonzo Ball is already a big name coming into the NBA in his rookie season. People are going to be tuning in to watch him, but now he has a couple different rivalries coming in already. Of course, he's a first rivalry between Lonzo and De'Aaron Fox, the Kentucky-UCLA battle that they had over the season. People are going to tune in to see those guys when they go at it. And now you also have the 76ers rivalry with Lonzo Ball. So first you have Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball 1-2 in the draft. You have that rivalry. You have Ben Simmons and Ben Simmons' sister saying she hopes that Ben dunks on Lonzo this year, so you have that part of the 76ers rivalry, and now you have this Joel Embiid, LeVar Ball rivalry, which trickles down and affects Lonzo Ball as well. So people are going to tune in already to see Lonzo, and they're going to tune in even more when Lonzo plays the Sacramento Kings and De'Aaron Fox, and the 76ers and Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. The MLB Allstar game was this past week, and the AL and NL were tied at 1-1 through 9 innings. They took one extra inning in order to decide the game when Robinson Cano hit a walk-off home run to win the game for the AL. Now with the American League, they also have home field advantage in the World Series now, but remember, a Robinson Cano home run hit off a Wade Davis pitch just decided who gets home field in the World Series. I don't necessarily agree with that. I definitely think it should be who had the better record through the regular season should get home field advantage. I don't like deciding with an all-star game because what are the odds that Robinson Cano and Wade Davis aren't in the World Series? Not even together, just one of them. The odds that even one of them is there is small. So now these two players who might not even impact the World Series just decided who gets home field, and that is a big impact in the series. As I said, I think it should be who performed better throughout the regular season should get a home field during the World Series. It should not be decided with the All-Star game. Besides the All-Star game, there's the Home Run Derby, and the Home Run Derby was huge this year. It had the highest ratings in 8 years, and Aaron Judge, rookie for the New York Yankees, was the first rookie ever to win the Home Run Derby outright. And when Aaron Judge was batting, the ratings spiked. They had their highest ratings as a result of Aaron Judge, and Alex Rodriguez, prior to the Home Run Derby, said that he could potentially be the face of baseball. He could be a LeBron James-esque figure in the MLB. Now, in terms of LeBron James-esque figure, I don't agree with that one because LeBron James, yes, is dominant in his sport, but he's not just that. He's a business mogul. There's just so much with LeBron, and I haven't seen it with Aaron Judge yet. Granted, it's his first season in the majors, so that's yet to be seen, but I do think he could end up being the face of baseball. He's a bright young star. He's batting better than he ever has in his entire career in the majors. He's batting better in the MLB than he did in high school and all through the minors, so that in its own right is impressive. If he can continue this next season and throughout, absolutely the face of baseball, because additionally he plays for the New York Yankees, and the Yankees are a massive brand. They're the biggest brand in baseball, and they were just named the second wealthiest sports team in the entire world, only behind the Dallas Cowboys. So I think the fact that he hits home runs, he's a big guy, 6'8", not a bad looking dude, playing for one of the biggest brands and playing so well is going to benefit him, and he could definitely become the face of baseball. Mark Cuban's had some fun quotes in the news lately. First off, he openly admitted to tanking with the Dallas Mavericks last year, now that they're definitely in a rebuild. He also went on to say that if the team wasn't in the Western Conference, they wouldn't be rebuilding. If they're in the Eastern Conference, they'd be fine. And then he followed that up by saying he's just going to kidnap Adam Silver until he moves the Dallas Mavericks to the Eastern Conference. I actually just want to talk about moving Dallas Mavericks to the Eastern Conference to make it easier. And I'm not talking about just actually moving Dallas. I'm talking about eliminating conferences altogether and just have the league. No conferences, no divisions, no nothing. Now, this Colin Cowherd talked about this on his show this week, so this is not my own idea on its own. I definitely recommend you go check out Colin Cowherd. You can find it on YouTube and Twitter, him talking about this. But it makes sense for the NBA to eliminate conferences and just do your playoff seeding 1 through 16. Colin talked about how in the NCAA, they don't care where your region from is where they seat you. They would just put you wherever makes the most sense. And it would just be better for the NBA. Then you wouldn't have one stacked conference right now like the Western Conference and one definitely not stacked conference like the Eastern Conference where most of your good teams are on one side and only 1 or 2 quality teams on the other side. So this makes sure that the best teams in your league make the playoffs. You don't have to concern yourself with, we're better than most of the teams in the other conference, but we're not making it just because our conference is so stacked. Plus, for everyone that's so against these repeat finals between Golden State Warriors and Cleveland, it would make repeating championships harder to attain. If everyone's in one playoff bracket as opposed to 2 playoff brackets with 2 clear winners in each bracket every single year, always resulting in them playing each other, they could meet earlier depending on how seeding works out. I just think it makes so much more sense for the NBA to do one playoff bracket, eliminate conferences, and make it more fun. We ensure that the best teams are in the playoffs, and we don't have to worry about balancing the conferences with one conference right now being so much better than the other. That is it for this week's video, guys. Thank you once again for tuning in. Let me know in the comment section down below which video form you like better. Do you like the one where I use notes and talk with and prepare, or do you like where I just kind of on the fly with this one? Did you even notice a difference? I'm really interested to know what you guys thought of the way I did the video this time. Also want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think the NBA should keep conferences? Do you think they should eliminate them? Do you think Aaron Judge is the new face of baseball? Let me know in the comment section down below your opinion on anything that I talked about today. Make sure you follow me on social media. You can find JAK Sports on Instagram at JAK Sport with no S on the end. I post clips from this show there during the week. You can find my personal Instagram at jkels97. You can follow me on Twitter at @thejacobkelly. Thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.